And welcome into the Summit City Sports Report number 33 on the year with head ball coach Jason Garrett from the Bishop Dwenger Saints. Coach Garrett in his 7th year, 58 wins, just 25 losses, and a state championship under his belt. Coach, this year your team has won 3 out of the last 4 entering the playoffs. The only loss is a 17-6 battle over there at Spooler Stadium. And then last week, running clock, just handling business over there at Concordia. I feel like you really got to be pleased with the way your team has responded and finished off the regular season. And it seems like you're hitting all cylinders right now for this 2024 squad as you enter one of the tougher sectionals in the state. How are you feeling about your team right now?
Yeah, I mean, we just got out of practice. I think, the thing I'm most proud of with this group, and it seems like it's almost year to year, is just the resiliency. Been through a lot as all teams go through different things. But in particular, I think this year, injuries, key injuries, right? I mean, and how they've responded. They've remained patient. We live in a culture that's attracted by outcomes, right? I think everybody's ear is to what the outcomes are. You want to look at records, you want to look at different things. And, I think I'm most proud of our guys for, kind of buying in and trusting that, the process was what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a hard, difficult process. And then, the Lord allowed some additional adversity with the injuries and some different things. And, they've weathered all the storms. And, to your point, I think, we're closing out the season with, with some highlights, in terms of, the trust, unity, and toughness that we talk about. And we're executing things a little bit better. And, at the end of the day, we're more healthy than we've been. And, that's where you want to be, I think, heading into the postseason, healthy, number one. And feel like you're kind of hitting your stride in some different areas. And we're doing some good things. We know we got a tremendous battle ahead of us, but we're doing some good things. We feel like we're in a good spot.
Coach, there has been a lot of great stories with your team. Baumgartner was one of them. Ryan Groves coming back. Is there one situation where you really took a step back and said, God bless that kid right there. Like, this is amazing what he's been able to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think you bring up Baumgartner, and I think last time we talked about him, I think he was the pick to click, and 2 days later, he has a just kind of a freaky situation at practice, and he's out.
Yeah.
He and that's kind of been the season, kind of just kind of looking around, what's going to happen next, kind of a thing at times. But he's one of those examples. I mean, I think I talked about it last time. As a senior coming out of a baseball season that, was injury, had his injury, and then, didn't come out of the season starting right away, and then jumped into corner, and this became our prototypical safety. And then just to go out the way he went out, a week and a half ago was unfortunate. But I think I'd have to say right now, there's several guys, but just to be a sophomore and be handed the keys, to an offense that, has fluttered along for a while just because of, the adjustments that have been had, that we've had to make. And, we had Henry Jordan in there trying to make a go of it. And, eventually that became something physically that he couldn't do. And to have Nick step in and be a sophomore and, go from starting corner to starting quarterback and, be kind of in a mode now where, we got to go play Snyder and we got to close out the season and get ready for the postseason. He's done an amazing job, and the guys have rallied behind him. And so, I'm encouraged by him and his attitude, and it's a great family. We've had a lot of O'Keefes go through here. We got a lot more to come. And
yeah, there's more.
Mom and dad for sure. And, we know that they're 100% in. And so, Nick's a guy that comes to mind when you say that, just so proud of how he's handled all the situations he's been put in.
Yeah, Coach. And the one thing I noticed, a sophomore quarterback that hasn't had a lot of reps, they're going to make mistakes in that sort of thing. But the comfortability level that I see in the pocket, him on his feet. It looks like it's really, really progressed pretty quickly. Is that what you're seeing as well?
Yeah, there's no doubt. So quickly that, even today, just trying to slow him down a little bit, he threw it really well today, and, he's just managing the huddle. We talked about just managing the game. That's what we need back there. Just somebody manage the game, make the right decisions, move the chains, Bishop Dwenger offense, right? Turn it over to our defense and special teams, do what we need to do. And he's embraced that. He's got a high IQ. He's just a football player. Hence, he's our starting corner, right, as a sophomore. So, it's a football family. He's a football kid. He's, in the Tippmann lineage there as we go through things. And so, we're really proud of him. And, yeah, I think he's getting a little more comfortable as we go along.
Yeah, and the one thing that stuck out to me in the Snyder game, in the red zone, we've talked about Lucas Wynn and how great he is throwing that interception. Now the Snyder player made an outstanding play on that ball. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, but those are the things. If you just eliminate those, just take the sack or throw it away, let Lucas get out there and drill a field goal. Was that talked about after that possession? I'm sure it was.
Yeah, I mean, I did my best to put my arm around him and just say, hey, your legs are an asset here.
Yes.
And I think it was, you're always processing the game. I think the number one thing we talked about was, the red zone, just being more efficient and knowing that, trusting that, with Lucas's leg, we hit the 30, 25 yard line. And, we're in pretty good shape for 3 points. And, we got to be better as coach. I mean, I start with me. We got to be better as coaches in our play calls and things. You don't want to get too conservative. I mean, obviously we want to be efficient and you want to score touchdowns, and we need to score touchdowns, but just being smarter on some of those decisions and trusting himself. I mean, he went into that game. It's Snyder. It's the rivalry. It's all those things. We have our chances, and he's trying to make things happen. And that's the great thing about it. He's fearless. So there's a lot of positive there. It's just, trying to help him kind of understand those situations a little bit in the heat of the moment. And that's the blessing of our schedule too. I mean, just roll the young sophomore into a Snyder rivalry and there you are, so he learned a lot. The gas pedal was all the way to the floor as far as, the learning curve. And that's all we could ask. Right. I mean, again, we weren't so concerned about the results as we were the process. And that couldn't have been a better game to help him grow and help us grow as an offense. For sure.
Yeah, and saw that, and Beckham Russell really impressed me in that game with his route running and giving O'Keefe some opportunities. I don't think Beckham, the numbers aren't crazy with the yardage in the passing game, because we talked about Jordan going down and working in a sophomore quarterback. But talk about Beckham Russell and what he means to a young quarterback of getting open. He seems to do that very well.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I think, we had our SAC meeting last night, and, he's a guy that you put up there, against some pretty gaudy numbers around the conference, obviously, but, felt necessary to put him up for the reason that, I think he's very humble. He's been very patient. As a receiver out there, go back 3 or 4 weeks ago, we realized that we got to start establishing the run game. We're starting to get healthy again. Gus has been doing a nice job back there, and Chef blocking and, getting back. You have to have a run game. Obviously everybody wants to be balanced and all those things, but first and foremost, you got to have a run game, and sets up everything else for us. And so the thing with Beckham is just being patient. I think early on, a lot of high hopes. We go down to Brownsburg. We really did not play bad. We moved the ball, had some really good moments in that game offensively, especially in the second half. Roll into Moeller for the first half. We're toe-to-toe with him. Offense is clicking, and then down goes Henry, down goes Tryon, down goes whoever else. I mean, I don't know how many other guys. And, and then we try to bring Henry back, and he's not 100%, so we're modifying the offense and trying to do what we can do. And, many things had to come out, and the mainstay was Russell, and he's been able to make some plays for us when we needed him to. But the biggest thing is just as a as a young man, remaining patient, trusting. Talk about trusting the process. That we made a joke. I said, Bishop Dwenger will throw the ball eventually. And we had that for a couple weeks. Like, Beckham, just go out there and stand for 45 minutes while we run the ball. And but yeah, what a great young man, and we're so happy he's here. He seems to fit in well with our school and our program and our faith, and he's been a great example. Just a junior, but a great example of being a we guy over a me guy, and especially at a skill position like that where you're wanting some touches, and so proud of him, and he's remained patient, and today throwing it around a little bit and doing some things. I walked over how to go. I love the coach. I had a great, so yeah, happy for him and proud of our guys,
Coach, in that 41-7 win last week, 9 different guys recorded a carry in that game. What'd you learn about your running back room after that week 9 matchup?
Yeah, I mean, when you get off to a fast start like that, we were blessed, and being that it was senior night, and for a lot of the year, we've had Gus, kind of, carrying it for us back there, and we want to get Russell Knipscher some more touches. He's more of a downhill kind of a guy, where Gus kind of gives us the joystick and hides back there. So it's a good combination. But we realized in the Snyder game, you kind of get going, and there's certain limitations we had, and so I want to get Russ some touches, and he had a big night, two scores, and was downhill for us, and we had some favorable position, field position there early on, which was a big part of it. And then getting Chef some touches from the fullback position, and Fabini, and then later on being able to get some other guys in there it was a blessing. All the respect in the world for Coach Manigal, and I felt like it was an opportunity for both teams to get better in certain areas for the postseason. I think that's what it became for us, and working on the run game especially. And we mixed in some linemen, that had been in, and then we're back out due to some of the guys returning. And so, it was good. Again, back to the process. It was good to get that many guys involved, and those guys all come to practice too. They're all out there with us every day, and especially the seniors deserving some moments, and getting some guys, some Friday night light time, so that if we need them in the postseason, they're ready to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Coach, we talk about it all the time with Coach Manigal and Concordia. I mean, tough for that school in the SAC, but I hate to get off topic once again, but your thoughts on Concordia entering the Class 3A postseason. Do you feel like this is a team that can rattle off some more W's in the postseason?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that his offense is dynamic. He's got some tremendous playmakers, and he does a fabulous job. They like us, I guess, you start kind of wrestling your own weight, if you will. And, he's been there. I mean, he's got a state championship. He knows the process. He understands. And so I wish him all the best. I think they got a great opportunity.
Yeah, and having Jack Belshner back healthy, which is their most dynamic wide receiver, in my opinion, I think that opens things up for Coach Manigal as well. But yeah,
man, I think he was injured early in the year and is starting to get back healthy. So amen to that, right? And then with Cook, and quarterback's accurate. I mean, they ran some good schemes. I mean, they threw the ball, I think, for almost 300 yards against us, 200 and some, and so I mean, they've got a great system there, and he runs it well. So I look for him to make a good run for sure.
And Coach, before we move to Friday, let's speak on the defense a little bit. So impressive, just the pursuit of the football by your guys, the progression of Houston Ellinger and Dylan Tittman really going after the football, cleaning up anything that gets past the Peter Thiels and the Tommy Pories up front, especially that Snyder game. My goodness, were they hitting so hard. And Snyder, there were sometimes they were trying to run away from those players. Talk about the progression of Dylan Tittman and Houston Ellinger.
Well, there are 2 leading tacklers. They're playing some crucial positions: outside linebacker for Dylan, and then our Ranger spot for Houston. And, one of the things that I think Coach Nepper has done, he's done a lot of great things. The best thing he's done this year, and he speaks about it as well, is just simplifying the scheme and letting our guys play.
Mm.
I think we got a lot of guys that, they're football players. They're aggressive. That's the thing. You want guys that you have to kind of pull the reins back on. You don't want to have to, make guys, aggressive and go chase the football. You want to have to pull the reins back. And, those two guys for sure, are two most aggressive. I think they're the two guys that have the highest IQ. When they're out there, they want to make plays. They're looking to make plays. They're probably the two guys we have to talk to the most about remaining disciplined and, trusting and staying home and all those kinds of things because, see ball, get ball, the old Fred Tone, right? See the ball, go get the ball, and they've done an outstanding job. I think just buying into the simplification of things, trusting, in the scheme. And I think that's freed them up to be the guys that they are, and the fact that they're both juniors, they've grown a lot, back to last year when they're rolling out there as sophomores, you learn a lot. They're painful lessons, but you learn a lot. And, credit to them. They've taken those lessons well, and it shows this year. 75 tackles for Dillon and 72 for Houston. And those are the positions that have to make the tackles for us. And meanwhile, being able to, drop in coverage and being right in those coverages, especially when we're mixing things up a little bit. They both have done an outstanding job. They're definitely, two of the leaders on our back end for sure.
Yeah, and Carter Zent had another good game. He almost had 2 picks in that Snyder game. When I look back at that, I was on the call for that game. Just some missed opportunities that your players were right there for. A couple interceptions that probably would have been picked on any other day. Just didn't get him that night. And then that Superman tackle from Dougie Henry on the sideline that caused the fumble of Aaron Vance that eventually Snyder recovered. That was another one that you were just inches away from that. But that Dougie Henry play was one of my favorite plays of all year, with him dropping back into coverage, still trying to contain. And then once he saw the opening, just absolutely beeline and laid one of the biggest hits we've seen. Yeah.
I think he's got 3 caused fumbles on the year, and he's always around the football. And, he's kind of got that rugby mentality, and he's playing that other outside linebacker position very well. I certainly would scheme away from him.
Right.
He's one of our most physical guys. He does some things on offense for us too. He's probably one of the big surprises. I don't want to say surprises, but pleasant surprises, I'd say. We knew we needed him this year, and he stepped up. And, since he's gone into that position, he hasn't looked back. And, he's a big kid. He's big, he's physical. And, as you're showing on the screen, we talked about it, on Monday. And, he was nominated for the Big Hit Award with that. And, just running that guy down, never quit, and just the physicality that, and mentality that those guys bring. I mean, Dillon, Houston, Dougie. I mean, I can go through all of them. You mentioned Tommy, Nick Pelt. You just go through all of them. And the one thing you're gonna realize is that they all play the game the way it's designed to be played, and that's physical. Obviously we gotta, be careful sometimes and pull the reins back. But I'd much rather be pulling the reins back than not. So we're glad he's on our side for sure.
Yeah, his dad was known for some physicality too. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. So, Coach, we can transition over here to Columbia City.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys really haven't seen an offense like theirs this year with that flex bone that they like to run. Talk about that offense and some of the challenges that it presents for your defense.
Well, we don't have enough time to prepare, I'll tell you that.
School getting in the way?
Yeah, school and IHSAA rules and everything else is getting in the way. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a system. Coach Fox does an incredible job with it. I think they, you know, they're so systematic that they take advantage of whatever adjustments you make. They know what you're giving them. You know, they know what they got, and they make those adjustments quickly. You know, from downhill to outside to counter to, you know, rolling out to throwing the ball. They got weapons everywhere. They force you to be disciplined. You know, they force you to be patient, stay alert. You know, all the things that we've been talking about this week. But yeah, I mean, it goes without saying. What are number 4 in the nation on offense? I don't even know. I mean, no, it's way up there. They move the ball. They can hurt you in every way. 18 is, you know, I remember him from baseball, and he's got great speed. They get him to the outside, you know, and then they got 43 running routes with one on the backside. And I mean, where do you begin and where do you end? You know, 3 and 7, 7 on the wing. You got to be careful of him going vertical. 34, 32, 22, coming downhill on you. You know, it goes without saying. We know it's a tremendous challenge. We're doing our best to prepare our guys. You know, our aggressiveness could play against us. We realize that. So, you know, discipline is the key. We got to remain physical. There's certain things you got to try to take away. I don't know what else you want me to say. We hope to hold them under 50 and score a lot of points, I guess.
Yeah, that was kind of my point there. You were talking about the aggressiveness and how you kind of have to tailor that back a little bit against this offense. How do you teach the guys that, or are you just telling them? I mean, when you're a football player and your guys, man, they're hungry out there. They're ready to hit. Arguably the hardest hitting team in Northeast Indiana. Tim, I think you would agree when you just, you know, from the eye test. But yeah, how do you kind of drill it into them this week with the limited number of hours you have for practice?
Well, we just say, please, 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 please do your job. Please do your job. And then we probably say it in different ways as well. We encourage them to get on film. You know, at the end of the day, you know, they just, you know, it's about doing their job, not to, you know, I know that's a cliche, but, you know, I think our guys, one of our mantras is trust, you know, and I think one thing that they've shown and one thing that we hope for Friday is that they trust it. I believe they do. They know how dangerous these guys can be. They realize that, you know, they all have to do their job. You know, if we stop them on the front side, they're going to counter to the backside. If you're coming too downhill, they're going to hit you up the seam and they're going to play action you. And if you close something else down, 18 is going to get outside and run. I mean, we you know it, you see it, you study it. We try to prepare as best we can. At the end of the day, our guys got to go play football. It starts with the physicality for us. You know, if we can affect the line of scrimmage, then that helps us. And then making sure that, you know, on the back end, our eyes are right, and we know where they're trying to hurt us. And you know, after that, you just, you know, you hope they trust. I believe they do. Give them everything you can give them to prepare them, and then cut them loose Friday night and go play football.
And Coach, going on the offensive side of the ball, you know, that I formation really seemed to grab some traction against Snyder. And, you know, I think that's an advantage that you guys have, is having a bigger backfield to lead Gus, to have extra blockers back there. Is that something you guys are moving towards more? Not even in just short distance, but say in 1st and 10 or that sort of thing. Can we expect some more big backfields from Dwenger come Friday?
Yeah, I think it's who we are. I mean, it's who we always have been. You know, we have those guys. I think the scheme suits us well. You know, it sets up some other things for us, much like what we're talking about with Columbia City.
Right.
You know, for us, we believe the I formation gives us, you know, the best opportunity to get downhill, hit things quickly, utilize our physicality. You know, just put hats on hats, if you will, and you know, if it's 4 yards in a cloud of dust, you know, that's okay with us, you know, at times. And then, you look at other teams, Snyder and others that utilize the eye, it brings the tight end into play. And I think as a linebacker, strong safety, that presents some challenges in the play action. I think it also, puts some guys in the box that may not be used to being in the box. So, yeah, I think, it's a great formation for us. I think overall in football, it affords us a lot of things. And I think given our skill set and our team makeup, it suits us well. It's just a matter of getting it going. Obviously, when
Yeah.
you're going to run eye and two back set, you better have an offensive line that's in sync and, be able to block downhill. And, those pieces are, back together for us, now. So, we're hoping that it's something we continue to build on for Friday night. It has to be a part of who we are and what we do.
Yeah, I mean Shefferly, and it just seems like you hand the ball on a lead dive, and the kid's picking up at least 3 yards almost every time. I mean, it's very, very impressive. Now you add the health of Fabini, and then you can bring Pelkington back there. Those are some big, strong kids that can get you 3-4 yards. And if you're always up, in front of the chains at 2nd and 6 and 2nd and 5, that's an advantage for the Saints.
Yeah, you hit it on the head. I mean, you staying ahead of the chains, right? I mean, from the beginning, we've talked about 3 points of emphasis: tackling, turnovers, and penalties. And we talked about it Monday. We're doing a very good job, comparatively speaking, to last year with our tackling, especially in space. Hence we talked about Houston and Dylan and Dougie and different guys that have to make those plays. The other part, the turnovers and the penalties, staying ahead of the chains. The penalties have hurt us in the red zone. That's just back to some discipline. Again, we got aggressive guys. They want to go. And so, we stay ahead of the chains. 3-4 yards on 1st, 2nd down. We're in a good position. You get a better run than that. Now you're setting up a good situation for 2nd and 3rd. And, I think, again, back to the other thing, get in the red zone, be efficient. If we're not able to punch it in, we believe we got a field goal and just come away with points and get our defense back on the field. And so, that's our style. That's been our style for a lot of years. And, we feel like the last couple of weeks, we finally got our line back, some of those key guys, even with Nick running it now, managing it. I think it's as good as it's been this season, especially looking back to the first couple of weeks.
Coach, heading into the postseason, how does this work with like film exchange? Do you guys exchange the whole season's worth of film with each other?
It's interesting bringing it up. We had some conversation. It's been different. I don't know how many years I've been doing this now altogether, but it's been different. Some coaches prefer to exchange them all. I know in the SAC, I think that's been a welcome change by all of us. There's no unfair advantage, if you will. There's, you don't have to be put in a position where somebody asks you for film or you give film or whatever. It's just all there, and you get to see it all. Going into the playoffs, the rule is, a minimum of 2. That's what we've elected to do. That's what Coach wanted to do. Coach Fox wanted to do. So I was open to whatever because I've done whatever. So, we basically have exchanged the last 2 games, and you do your best with that. In an age where you guys are doing such a great job with games, and we have Saint Sports Network, and there's IHSAA games of the week, things like that. Things are online. It's not the same as having it on Huddle, but if you're patient and you take the time, you essentially have just about all the games that you'd want to be able to see. And with Columbia City and us, I mean, there's so many changes you go through in a 9-week period with injuries and otherwise. So, it gives you a kind of a wide lens view of everything. But I think the last couple of weeks are especially important, just to kind of see where they're at and what their philosophy is, especially, they have our Snyder game. We have their Leo game. So, those are some pieces that we both have to try to prepare for one another.
Yeah, definitely 2 telling games right there.
Yeah.
Coach, heading into this one on Friday, I'm just going to ask you to pick 2 guys here. Let's say a pick to click, a guy that you think, and it could be an offensive lineman, but a guy that you think can really do well this Friday against Columbia City. Let's go with an offensive guy first.
Yeah, I mean, I lean on AJ Shefferly. I mean, obviously we talked about Nick and, our offensive line, and Andrew Tryon's back, and, Stauffer's healthy, and, we got our guys back. And, but, the untalked about kind of hero of the offense this year has been AJ Shefferly, in my opinion. We were doing some H motion stuff early on, and, now back in the eye, still have the H motion stuff, and then having him out in the slot and motioning him, and, using him on traps and different things, and then asking him to go downhill in the run. We've used him in a single back set in some of our formations. And, he just shows up, goes to work. He's got the big hit award. He's been nominated, I think, every week from an offensive blocking perspective. And, in order to do what we do, whether it be in the run game or, passing game, he's kind of that unsung hero. He's got to be a big part of it. He's got to help in protection. He's got to run some routes sometimes. He's got to come across in motion, make key blocks. He's got to go downhill. So might be a surprise, but that's a guy that we lean on kind of quietly, but he's a huge part of everything we do. So AJ Shefferly on offense. On defense, I think our Rangers, we've talked about them, but this week, Houston and Dougie on the outside linebacker, and Dylan, those guys. But Cooper Campbell and Houston playing our Ranger positions, especially with all the different things that Columbia City can hurt you with. When they're trying to get some of their counter stuff going and hit some seams and roll them out and hit some outs and out and ups and, quarterback running. We really need some big play from our alley players. And so, I would hope and pray that, Houston and Cooper are locked in. I think they are. I wouldn't want 2 other guys in those positions, to be honest. So I'll pick those 2 on defense for us.
And Coach, Friday night, I expect I'll be at the game. I'll be on the call for that for us, and I expect just a great atmosphere and just a million people out there. Columbia City's going to bring them. Dwenger always brings a great crowd, good student section, large student section as well. Hopefully, Greg Slee and the staff are ready to direct some traffic out there. And get them across. But what do you expect in an atmosphere like this? A big time game. Everybody's talking about it's the best matchup in the opening round of sectionals. There's going to be a lot of eyes on this game. What are you expecting from the atmosphere in all your years that you've been around the program?
Well, we're honored to be those games of the week. I mean, first and foremost. So we're humbled and honored to be in that position. We tell our guys it's a blessing, no matter the outcomes, the record, and all those kinds of things. Our people believe, and our guys believe. So rolling into the atmosphere, back to John Tittman, Mary Cross Tittman Foundation, everybody that put this stadium together, all that Katie Slee and Greg Slee have done, and Mr. Schiffley as our principal. I mean, just to create this stadium atmosphere at Bishop Dwenger is it's humbling. I tell you, every time I stand out there, especially on a Friday night, I still kind of get the chills. First and foremost, that God's allowed me to be in this position, or, he's voluntold me to be in this position for whatever reason. But it's going to be electric. I don't think I'll tell you guys that. I mean, there's been some electric games at this stadium, going back to, the very first game here against Northside, and then thinking about the first time we ever played, Snyder in the playoffs, and every time we play one of the big SAC schools here, the the Lures Dwenger rivalry games, the sectional championship games we played here since the stadium has been built. I think this one's going to be as big as all those, maybe bigger. And that's the other thing. I think, I told our guys at the end of the day, as the one that, kind of is the visible head of this thing, I'm certainly not the brains or anything like that behind it. We got some great coaches and things, but, our goal has been to put them in as much, preparation as possible. Going to Brownsburg, that was an unbelievable environment. Moeller coming here, going to Moeller last year. The times that we played, Homestead and Carroll here and Snyder here and, Lewis. I mean, we've done everything we can do to put them in an atmosphere that's going to be like Friday night. So it's not too big and too fast that they're ready to go. And, after tonight, I think our guys are ready to go. Going to be electric. Lights are going to be bright. It's going to be fast. It's going to be loud. If you're not here, shame on you. It's going to be awesome.
There ain't no doubt about that.
Well, Tim or Coach, unfortunately, I won't be able to be there. I got to go to East Noble.
Shame on you.
So we can get another game covered. Tim, did you have any more questions for Coach?
Yeah, no, I just the progression of the football team and not giving up in some adverse circumstances throughout the years with the injuries. We talked about in our play-by-play roundtable, teams this year for whatever reason, it seems like there's been a lot of injuries around, but the next man up type of situation, and you guys are a perfect example of it, with having that kid that's 2 on the depth chart that's not getting the reps and then get thrown out there. Nick O'Keefe is a perfect example of that. How proud are you of the kids that hang in it week? I mean, football, it's a long season. You guys you got the Red Dawn, you got, everything in the summer that you guys do. And then leading into the season, it's a lot of practice time for these kids that don't get reps on a Friday night for a person to go down ahead of them and they step up and they produce. Is that one of the things? I know for me, that's one of the things that I absolutely love about covering high school sports.
Yeah, I think when you say that, Tim, I kind of, my dad hat goes on, my coaching hat goes to the side.
Yeah.
You just sorry, hang on a sec.
No, you're good, Coach.
You just you can't help but grow to love these guys. They become like your sons. I think of adversity you face as a family sometimes, and as a dad, you got to kind of keep rallying them and keep encouraging them to trust. And with your team, you're doing that week in and week out. And what people don't always understand is you lose a few guys, you have injuries, every team does.
Mm-hmm.
For us, we roll right into another 6A opponent, another huge rivalry game, huge expectations. You got the traditions of winning here, and you just it gets me choked up. I mean, the guy, they're willing to trust. They're willing to stay bought in. They never flinch. And it's a testament to our guys. It's a testament to our families. I think it's a testament to our faith that, they're just unwavering, and they stay together. And I'm always just humbled to think about that. I don't take any I don't take any credit for that. I look in their eyes tonight. I say, the goal here is that we spend another week together.
Yeah.
And whether it's, this group or last year's group or whatever, that's always the goal. Day by day, spend another week together. There's 35 days left on the calendar when you punch through the line on Friday night. You got 35 days. Day at a time. Let's see how much time we can spend together, because we want to be together, and I want these guys to be together. And so, yeah, I couldn't be prouder, Tim. And they're like sons. They really are. You got guys going to have surgery. They're back the next day on the sideline, standing there for 2.5 hours. They just love being a part of it. They love each other. It's very humbling. And that's where, as a kind of as a dad, that's what I think kind of keeps me going. I just get to have 130 sons out there with me, and they buy in, they love each other. We go play a game Friday night, and hopefully we're practicing Saturday morning.
Coach, I know you won't want to take credit for it, but you absolutely deserve the credit. There's no question, and having the staff that you've put into place, and the alumni that keep coming back, and for the people out there listening, Coach Garrett does get it, and he's too humble to say that, but we appreciate you. As a Dwenger guy myself, Jeff's a Dwenger guy. I have kids there, so we appreciate it. It's noticed, and keep up the good work. I can't wait for Friday night, Coach. It's going to be an outstanding game, win or lose for the Saints. But good luck Friday night, and we'll see you out there at Shields Field.
Yeah, appreciate you guys very much. Thanks for all the support, all you guys do for our guys and our programs. Thank you.
Absolutely, Coach. Good luck on Friday, and that brotherhood is going to last forever between those guys. I mean, a lot of times that your football buddies are your best buddies 20 years down the road. They're guys that you can lean on, and they're guys that you can rely on because of all the life lessons that are learned on that football field. And yeah, Tim's 100% right. You guys are right at the top with the best of them.
Yep.
It's interesting you say that. We had, if I got 10 more seconds, 1974 team with us last Friday night. And they jumped in the locker room, and that's exactly what they said. Andy Goodman and a few other guys. There they are, 50 years later, I think, whatever the math is. They said, here we are, and there's 30 of us back here. We want to come back to a football game, and they said, it's your brotherhood. That's what it's about. It's more than football. It's wins and losses on Friday nights, but it's more than football. It's these guys, becoming great. I always say, it's not about you becoming a good man, it's about you becoming a great man, a great husband, a great father, a great community leader. That's what it's about. Yeah, the gold helmet and wins and losses and all those things. But at the end of the day, I hope when they put me in the ground that they can say that at least I tried to help these guys. I did all I could to help them become not just good men, but great men, and that they have their brotherhood. They have those friendships to last them a lifetime.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, Coach, and taking the time out of your very busy schedule. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. See ya.
Head coach Jason Garrett. And yeah, Tim, boy, you got him choked up a little bit right there. And it's the truth, man. I mean, I always got so hurt, 15 years ago when people would just say how bad football is and head injuries and stuff like that. And, we've talked with Coach Stewart about it over at East Noble. And he says, football is as safe as it's ever been as far as how they're teaching techniques and the equipment and all that stuff. And, a lot of times, you don't remember all the big plays on the field.
Right.
But man, you remember the pasta parties, you remember grinding out tough practices with your buddies and spending time outside of practice, just talking about it, playing backyard football. Shoot, you and I have been doing it since the third grade together, just playing ball and getting guys together. And it's a beautiful sport. And you're 100%. I mean, Dwenger's always done it right at the top with the best of them.
Yeah.
And I feel like Coach Garrett's even taking it to another level with, man, that atmosphere out there is second to none. You're talking about food trucks outside of the stadium and whatnot. I mean, you don't see that many places.
Yeah, Greg Slee and Katie Slee. Greg Slee, the athletic director, and Katie Slee, they do a great job of that atmosphere out there, and of course Principal Shifley. But having the kids, and I have 6 children, and all of them have played sports and that sort of thing, and sometimes these coaches that you're sending your kids to, are spending a lot more quality time, especially as they get to the high school level, than what you even get sometimes, So, it's so important, with talking to Coach Fox, talking to Coach Johnson, all the coaches here, we're blessed in the city of Fort Wayne with, us parents being able to send our kids to these coaches with knowing that they have their best foot forward in their best intentions for your kid. Now I'm not talking about reps and playing time, all that stuff. Is water under the bridge sometimes. Every parent thinks their kid's the best. I get it. But it's so important for leaders like a Coach Garrett and our coaches in our area and our athletic directors in our area that are just absolutely bar none. And I'd send my kid to go play for a number of these coaches in the Summit Athletic Conference in the Northeast State, and and the athletic Allen County Corner, and all. It's very important, and you can see it on Coach Garrett's face how important it is for him. Not to only win, but it's to produce great fathers, husbands, business people in the world, and great men. So, you see it on the girls' side as well with that. But yeah, it means a lot, and I'm glad we got to ask him that, because that's a genuine thing. But he's too humble to take credit for what he's done over there and building a really good culture. I've seen practices out there, and it's well run. There's no doubt about it. And you got the Cagnets and the Brad Brown and the coaches that have started even coaching at St. Charles and then moved up through the ranks, and then they're finally at Bishop Dwenger. It's tremendous to see. I love to see it, but this atmosphere, not to get too emotional, but this atmosphere Friday night, it's going to be bar none, Jeff. It is going to be a Leo East Noble type of environment, and I just cannot wait to see that. I'll get there about 5:15. I'll make sure I get in there. And folks, remember, they cut off the driveway in front of the school. So if you want to park on the side of the stadium, you better come in off Washington Center. If you want to park in the senior parking lot, you need to come off Clinton. You cannot go in between. They'll have that blocked off for the players walking back and forth through the locker room there inside the school. So, but yeah, the food trucks. There's going to be plenty of media in the media booth. There's no doubt about that. I was talking to Greg Slee on Monday about that. And, everybody wants to be a part of this game, Jeff, and I don't blame them one bit. We're very blessed to be able to get out there and see this ultimate matchup in sectional 19 in Class 4A between these Columbia City Eagles and these Bishop Dwenger Saints. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, and your son, a freshman, just finished up his freshman season
Yep.
over at Dwenger. Your daughter finished up her senior year on the soccer team. Another daughter playing basketball and rugby. But since we're talking football here, what was the experience like for Griffin, his freshman year of football at Dwenger?
Freshman's tough at all the schools. All the freshman teams try to play an equal type of playing time situation and that sort of thing. But it's the learning of it's time to be big boy. It's time to start. You're not in 8th grade anymore. You're starting to, you got to start stepping up to the plate with your studies and the workouts and watching game film and that sort of thing. And, the freshman coach out there, head coach, John Tone, who's may even be talking Griffin into trying wrestling for the first time come the spring or come the winter. And then move into some rugby, great rugby program that Bishop Dwenger has. They have all 3 levels, a freshman, a JV, and a varsity there in rugby. Coach Garrett mentioned with the Dougie Henry and that rugby skill and intensity coming out. I think that's very important. But, Coach Garrett communicates so well every Sunday night. You're getting an email from Coach Garrett, even as a freshman parent. It's a family. They don't treat it as a varsity is different than, the schedules are laid out. So this is varsity's daily, this is JV's daily, this is freshman's daily. So all the freshman parents get to see what the JV and the varsity, how their schedules are laid out and what Coach Garrett's talking to them about every Sunday night. So, very receptive to, talking to parents and that sort of thing. We got a great spot there, Bishop Dwenger, for our kids. There's no question about that. I hope it keeps going. There's no question about it, but with the leadership that's in place, I don't expect anything to change out there at Bishop Dwenger.
Yeah, very smart to do, including all 3 levels, in the same email, because now the younger kids are going to steadily know what's coming up the ranks. I mean, it's been ingrained in them since they're 15 years old, 14
Yep.
years old. So,
Yeah, even
yeah,
like the pasta parties and the in between school and game meal preps and that sort of thing. Like you get to see everything that's involved with the Bishop Dwenger football, and I'm sure other coaches do it. I just know firsthand experience of what Coach Garrett does. It's outstanding. That's the thing that as a parent you want the most of is communication with schedules from coaches, whether you use an email or a game changer or a sport you or a group me, whatever you use, to be present in the communication with the parents is so key, because I've seen it with other sports and some of my other kids. It's not always that way. So, when you get something like that with the Coach Garrett, I saw it with head coach James McKeag there on the soccer program, girls soccer program at Bishop Dwenger. It's, parents respect that. And not only do they respect it, they need it. And it makes the parents feel part of the program as well. So, yeah, the communication's so key, Jeff.
Yeah, this is a huge game for Dwenger, get
Huge.
to that 500 mark.
Yeah.
Maybe get to a sectional championship. You never know what happens, but have a 500 season after starting off the way it did with just a massive gauntlet, 6A powerhouse.
Yep. And the injuries, I mean, think about all those, what we're talking about with East Noble and what we were talking about with Coach Fox and East Noble. All those kids that are seniors now played as sophomores, and look at what they're doing now with more years under their belt.
Oh yeah.
That's the type of Dwenger that blueprint is laid out with Dwenger right now as well, with the sophomore quarterback and junior running back, and some of their best defensive players are juniors and sophomores. So, it's the blueprint is there. If you can get some momentum in this playoffs, Columbia City's not going to be an easy test. That game is going to be so hard-nosed fought. It's going to be really exciting to see. But the progression, this program's only going to get better with what I've seen throughout their JV and their some of their players on their freshman class as well. And they got another good freshman class that'll be coming in next year from the CYO programs as well. So, yeah, it's exciting to see how things are. And it's a special environment. I can't wait for Snyder to have their stadium on campus, so they get to start to feel this type of vibe that Dwenger's got to have over the past whatever years it's been that they've had Shields Field, 8 years or whatever it's been. To have that stadium on campus at Snyder would absolutely be huge. It's going to be huge for that program, and to have something their own. That's what the Dwenger fans and the alumni, they have something that is Bishop Dwenger's now, instead of having to go a couple miles down the road to Zollner, which was a great host, absolutely a great host for Bishop Dwenger throughout all those years. But to have something on campus that's your own, the players don't have to get in the bus to go to a home game. I'm excited for Snyder to see that, and they'll get that vibe for that here in the next year or two.
Yeah, we were always told back in the day that they weren't going to build a stadium because they didn't want to block the view of the school. But man, it looks first class coming off of is that Washington Center and
Washington Center and Clinton. Yeah,
coming down Clinton. I mean, it looks big time. It looks awesome with the video board and everything. It's just so clean.
Yep.
They did a great job. I know AD John Bennett was there at the time when they were doing that, and some people were complaining about the bill that was still owed, but they did it right. It was a good move, great atmosphere, and yeah, have fun tomorrow night, Friday night, Tim.
We could fast forward. I wouldn't mind that.
I know.
One last day of work, that would be great.
Yeah, these days are all running together. Hey, we're in the postseason. I mean, half the teams in the state of Indiana, half of them in 4 classes are not going to be practicing next week at this time.
Yeah, it's huge, man. It's do or die time now for all these players, especially the seniors. This is their last opportunity to put on the blue and gold for Dwenger and the maroon and gold for Columbia City. It's their last opportunity Let's see who has the most fire. Let's see who makes the least amount of mistakes. Because I think that's what this game's going to come down to is who makes the least amount of mistakes. I love how Coach Garrett's talking about it. He knows that they're going to try to use their aggression on defense against them, talking about being sound defensively on where you're supposed to be. That's exactly what I wanted to hear, and I know the Bishop Dwenger fans wanted to hear that as well. But yeah, you're right, Jeff. This is it. We're already here in week 10. Our schedule's starting to dwindle down until the gauntlet of basketball starts in a couple of weeks, which is going to be just insane. Which we'll start doing some podcasts. We'll start bringing Keith Edmonds, my color commentary, on for some of those podcasts, which I'm looking forward to. We'll get some coaches as well on those podcasts. But yeah, football, it's almost over. But
yeah,
no, I truly think that this sectional number 19 winner, Jeff, has a great opportunity to at least get to that semi-state level, and then you never know what can happen in semi-state to get yourself to Lucas Oil. I think this sectional 19 is so important, and these opening round games very, very important.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, Tim, enjoy the call. Everybody get out to Shields Field, and you have to get out there early. I'd say you want to be parked and in line by 6 p.m. Get yourself a good seat and don't chance it. I know Columbia City, they're going to come out in droves. Tim and I go over to Columbia City, and that
stadium's
half full by 6 p.m.
Yep.
And that's for a regular season game against Norwell.
Right. The blankets are already laid out to save their spots in the bleachers, and it's pretty special to see. And that's the type of vibe. I'm sure when I pull up at 5:15, their Dwenger people are already going to be tailgating by the campers, like they do each and every Friday for a home game. So I would expect Columbia City to be there early in droves as well. So you're right, Jeff. You got to get out there early, especially if you don't want to have to walk across Washington Center, because that's where you're going to end up parking if you wait to get there until after 6 p.m.
Yeah, no doubt. So, Tim, you enjoy. I'll be at East Noble, so we know East Noble's going to pack that place.
Oh yeah.
I'm begging for the Southside fans to
come on up,
figure out a way to make that trek. It's a fun environment. Your team has been so much fun to watch this year. They're growing. They're getting better under the leadership of Coach Goodwell.
Yeah, and Jeff, this is another great test for Southside to produce and to let their kids know the type of level that they need to get themselves up to. You've seen it in flashes this year, right, Jeff? I mean, with Southside, I mean, why not go out there and make it a close game? You never know what can happen. Obviously, East Noble's a big-time favorite in that game, but, get out there, Southside fans. Take that short drive up Lima Road to 3 and go see East Noble. You probably haven't seen it yet. Go up there. It's a great environment, and at the worst, you get yourself a pork burger. I mean, it's a great concession stand up there at East Noble as well.
Yeah, great baseball stadium, softball stadium. Check this out. John Harrell's got Columbia City winning it 31-21. Boy, if that were to happen, I would think that there would have to be a scoop and score, by their defense.
Pick sixes. Yeah.
Yes.
To me, Coach Garrett said, I think a little tongue in cheek about holding them under 50. I would be absolutely shocked if both teams combined for 50 points. Not one. If both teams combined for 50 points, I'd be shocked, Jeff. I think it's going to be a one possession game under 20 points for both teams is where I see it. Now, I've been wrong a million times before, and I can be wrong again about Friday, but from what I've seen this year and the vibe I'm getting from these two coaches, I think it's going to be a low scoring game, which could play really big into not making those mistakes, because that one mistake or two mistakes that could cost the game come Friday night.
Yeah, most definitely. And Lucas Nguyen somehow is going to figure into the outcome.
Yeah, there's
many times.
There's no question about it. That's why I wanted to bring that up with that interception that O'Keefe threw. That I don't remember who it was now. For Snyder made just a great play on it in the end zone.
Woodson, number 22.
It was. Thank you, Jeff. Yes, it was. You throw that away, or you just tuck it maybe, and just get a couple of yards, you bring Lucas Wynn, and now it's a 7-3 game instead of a turnover, and Snyder gets the ball with momentum. So, I think, that's why I wanted to ask Coach Garrett if it's talked about, obviously it's talked about, but it's talked about in a dad loving type of way with an arm around his sophomore quarterback, just letting him know, hey, you got speed. Go ahead and just tuck it, like what we saw Coach Johnson do with Tristan Newsome. How Tristan started the season with maybe throwing some balls when he's running out of the pocket that he could have just tucked and picked up 5-6 yards. Well, now we've seen that with Tristan over the past second half of the season. So, it's I love to see the progression of all these kids, Jeff. But what were you going to say?
Oh, no, that was pretty much it.
Okay.
So, yeah, no, enjoy the game, everybody. Get out to your local games, support your guys, because you know what? Once again, some teams aren't going to be playing next week, and it goes by fast. So appreciate the time, Tim. It's been fun once again. I know Coach Garrett, coming straight off the field and hopping on the podcast is great, and we really appreciate that from all the coaches. The coaches have been phenomenal this year.
Phenomenal, yeah. And we're going to try. We haven't got Coach Lindsay and Coach Quentin Bowen on. I talked to Coach Lindsay. We talked to him this week. We're going to get that scheduled for next week. So hopefully it's a Lures win. So it'll be a more enjoyable conversation. So we'll get Coach with his conferences and all the stuff that he had going on this week. He couldn't get in. And Coach Q was ill when we tried to get him on that week. So we'll try to get some more coaches on next week. Jeff had some photo shoots with work, so the timing has been a little tighter this week, but we'll get some more interviews going next week, and definitely get the two coaches in the Summit Athletic Conference that we have not yet been able to talk to.
Yeah, and looking at it right here, Bishop Lure is going to win this side of the bracket, so they will be in the championship. And honestly, is it going to be Heritage or Ole Miss?
Right.
I really like this Heritage squad with all their seniors, and I do think that they could beat Lures for a sectional championship. Remember, Heritage was a huge favorite last year, and they got knocked off by Garrett.
Right.
And now Garrett is having one of the best seasons in the state of Indiana right now, and Coach Depew is hands down the coach of the year.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, you got to put Coach Stewart up there with East Noble, with stepping in as a first-year head coach and not skipping a beat from Coach Amsitz, but not only not skipping a beat, he jumped a beat. I mean, it's been tremendous what Coach Stewart's done up there. And then, of course, you got to give a lot of credit to Coach Doug Dinan at Carroll with what they did in running that table and the Summit Athletic Conference. Those three are probably definitely at the tops of the list. In my opinion, but yeah, they Garrett and Coach Depew, but we just talked about it, Jeff, with some youngsters, and then being able to return. If you can make a little run or, just get some momentum to end the season, like Coach Depew did last year, you could move that right into the following year. Now, all of a sudden you got more attention from your kids. They're buying in even more. Now you can start building something even more special. So, yeah, it's even a one win in a sectional. It's so important, especially how, as Coach Ben Johnson always said, winning ain't easy. It's not easy.
No. Well, Tim, you have a good one. Get back to your family and folks at home. We appreciate you watching, and we're going to have hopefully another interview tomorrow. Possibly we will have Around the Fort starting at 6:45. So have a great night, everybody. Thank you.
See you, everybody.